This is Carla Atherton, Director of the Healthy Family Formula and head coach at Carla Atherton Inspired. And I'm just giving you an overview today of my method and my services and exactly what it is I do. Because um, although supporting people in their health isn't new, the way in which I tend to do it, I think is. We're used to having, or we have this model that we've been sort of raised within in our Western culture of healthcare, being that of doctor's visits and therapies, and you go there once or for 15 minutes or maybe even an hour or something longer, even like that. And then we are to go back and do whatever we're supposed to do and then come back in a month or 2 months or a year. Sometimes that isn't enough, especially when there's a paradigm shift that needs to happen before any of that stuff takes place or any of the healing takes place. So, what I mean by that is when we need to, or we must not need to, I don't like to use those words actually. So I'm shifting still myself, but when we move from that sort of medical model and moving out of pill for an ill and everything's supposed to be quick and some things are bad, some things are good, et cetera, et cetera. And I explain that all, I unpack that in the shift method videos. When we're shifting that out of that, it takes some time and it takes a lot of support. And so, and also when we have something like a chronic condition or a state of dis-ease where we don't feel well, or we're anxious, or we have depression or any of those sorts of things, unhappy with whatever is happening in our lives, that takes more support than just like once every couple of weeks. And so what I do is I weave in the learning, right? Like, what is it that we need to learn that's different from what we've been told, or maybe an expansion of what we already know? And then moving that into a state of health, of being empowered into your own health, making your own health decisions, your own agency, your own liberation from whatever health issue is keeping you back. So my purpose is to help people to help themselves by way of empowering yourself. And so I offer information, and not only that, but a new way of looking at things, a new lens at looking at your life and your own health, which is the catalyst for all the stuff that you end up doing after that. And then ultimately being, living, experiencing the changes that really and truly happen. So you can have a look at my shift method videos to get a little bit more information about that. What I'm here to do right now today, in the next just couple of minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what we do when we work together. So I have two websites. One of them is healthyfamilyformula.com. And that website is all about family. But when we say family, I don't just mean children. I mean how the whole unit of the family works together. And so when we have even, I have parents come to me and they say, well, my child is struggling in this way, or my husband has been diagnosed with XYZ. I know that it's not just a matter of that one person. And so I work with the entire family on the, reclaiming health. So, but it's more family oriented. People land on this and go, oh, okay, I get it. She works with children, and that's, part of her scope as well. So that's important that people know that. This website will explain my work in detail, and what I do as far as, my work and my mission. But really what I want to do, or what I aim to do, and what I work through and work toward every single day with my clients is using the health empowerment method and also my shift method, which is one and the same really, to empower families to overcome big challenges with passion, insight, and understanding. So I don't see the diagnosis as the end, but the beginning of the healing process. So I offer private coaching, group coaching programs, personalized healing plans, and my book, all kinds of things from entry level with, budget in mind, all the way to let's do this, right? Like a full-fledged, full-on, let's do some health coaching. And I have some time for that to do private coaching, but my focus right now is more on group coaching. But of course, I take on a certain amount of people for private coaching every month. So I'm just going to show you the tenets of health before I move on to the next one. And this is really the crux of what I know and believe about health in general. So we are whole beings, mind, body, spirit, environment, and community. So that is all one thing. We can take it all apart and try to explain things that, the mind, the body, the spirit, that's fine. But we have to understand that that all goes together. So when I work with people, we address all of those aspects of the self and of our health. The body is always healing. That's the second tenet. The body is always healing and can heal at any time. So yeah, we can take years and stuff, and we can say, well, something big is going to take some time to unravel, and maybe so, maybe not. I've seen things shift very, very quickly once something is completely understood or the right nail is hit on the right head. So, but we need to understand the possibility, and that's all explained in the shift method videos as well. Moving from, diagnosis and prognosis to literally possibility, and making those things, those prognoses and diagnoses, irrelevant. The body does not make mistakes. That's something that, even in the natural world, we talk about, oh, okay, the immune system is over responding. The immune system is under responding. Your body is broken. Even in the natural arena, we still talk like that, like the body is mistaken and we have to correct it. I see that as giving it the right inputs. The body is not making a mistake. It's actually brilliant, because all of the things you see happening, whether it's like breaking down tissues or gaining weight, or, not being able to think clearly, not being able to focus, having depression or anxiety, all those things are responses that the body is having because it's shunting its energy elsewhere, and it's trying to help. It's not trying, it is in survival mode. So if it's tearing down tissues, it's using it for energy. If it's gaining weight, it's trying to protect. If it's creating a tumor, again, it's trying to create more tissue in the area that is needed for the survival of that organism. If it is depressed, then it is maybe in need of deep rest, or it's trying to figure something out, or it's slowing you down, or it's maybe just feeling stuck, and we need to give it the right inputs. If it's anxiety, it's trying to figure out, or sleep problems, trying to figure out what the answer is. What do I need to do to get out of this situation? How am I going to survive? I need to figure this out. So the body does not make mistakes. What we need to do, though, is to help the body through those processes through complete and utter support. We're not separate from nature. This is the fourth tenet. We are not separate from nature, but an integral part of it. Isn't that cool? And we tend to think that we are separate from nature, that, it's like man versus nature, people conquering nature. No, we are a part of nature. We are only but one creature on this planet. We are one fractal of the totality that is this, whatever we could call it, the universe. We are definitely not dominant, and that's okay. We don't need to be. Actually, the beauty of it is that we're part of nature. And that is actually a really big concept to take to heart in the work that I do with people, because I do a lot of work with people and returning them to nature itself, to their own nature and to their own natural state of wellness, or that we can return back to the resilience over and over again. So next tenet, we are not broken, nor do we need to be fixed. Okay, so that's huge. That's one of the first things I'll often tell people. You are not broken. You do not need to be fixed. What we're doing here is supporting your body and your mind and all of that, whatever that totality is of you, into a state of harmony once again. You are not broken. You do not need to be fixed. We're just retuning the dial a little bit because something got a little off. The communication got a little off. And our health is in our own hands. And this is the truth. It's in our own hands, whether we act or not, whether we outsource or not. That's still a choice that we've made. And so we might as well be empowered in it, more encouraged, inspired, less fearful, right? Like, so we might as well just dig in, because it is in our own hands ultimately anyway. It just is. So we might as well own it. I love that. Own it. All right. So you can poke around my website, the Healthy Family Formula website, healthyfamilyformula.com. and get a little bit more information about, the family health consulting online and group programs that I'm offering at the time. Whenever you pop in here, what am I offering at the time? And practitioner training that I do. I teach people how to do this work because I think we need a lot more health and empowerment coaches out there doing this work, because my mission is to change a consciousness, change a paradigm of sick care into health care. So that's what I'm here to do. Next website, Carla Atherton Inspired. All right. So in this website is a little bit more oriented toward the empowerment piece, where we're talking a lot about the coaching aspect, but not just in that, like we're doing a lot more work with the mental and emotional aspects of the self. And I think actually, that's been tagged on to being an important part of everything we do. But I literally feel at this point that it's the most important piece of health and empowerment coaching, because you could know all you want to know about diet, but if you aren't feeling empowered, or feeling like you're stuck, or feeling like it's not going to matter, or being forced to make those changes where you're not inspired, you are coerced, or you are shamed into doing it, then none of that's going to help. None of it's going to matter. So I focus on the health empowerment piece in all of my work, but especially in the work that I do through Carla Atherton Inspired. So I'm a health empowerment coach, poet, workshop facilitator, and compulsive creator. So I use all of that work, all of my creative energy, all of that stuff that makes me me and uniquely me in my work. So I create visuals. I put together playlists for people. I curate experiences that are maybe breathwork experiences, or I facilitate workshops and writing groups, and I facilitate conversation. I ask the right questions, and we do a lot of digging, but also really the exploration is very exciting, and it's not meant to be scary or intimidating, or something that's a chore. Literally, it's like coming there, you're feeling like, man, that felt so good, I'm going to come back tomorrow. That's my goal in the work that I do. And and adding that creative piece also connects us in a way that is less clinical. I don't want to be a clinician. That's not what I want to do. Less counselor, and into the creative, inspirational role. And then inspiration and creativity becomes contagious. The more that we listen to other people's creative work, and I'm sure you all know this, you listen to a piece of music, you watch a video, you experience someone's writing, you attend a session that is a mindfulness session or a meditative session, you experience those things. You are leaving there going, I feel like creating something myself. I feel like I have more motivation. I have more purpose. I'm happier. I'm healthier. I'm more whole. I'm more connected with myself and others. So it's very powerful. The reason why I do this, I have figured out why I do it, but I've always done it. And I think that you'll find the same. So I show people how to move from dis-ease, and I never use the word disease ever, because I don't feel that it's an apt word. Dis-ease is literally just having a state of dis-ease, where you're just a little off. There's something not quite, it's not resonating. You're not feeling harmonious. You're not feeling well. And so it's not to label anybody with a disease. We say, well, you're having a state of dis-ease, and how do we bring that back into balance? So we move from dis-ease into true health empowerment through my Inspired Shift method, programs, and creative work. And I love to say I'm a synthesizer. I synthesize information. Okay, so I pull it all in, because learning about something, let's say you have a diagnosis, or you have something that's going on with you and you're not quite sure what it is. And as you learn, and I highly encourage anybody that I work with to keep learning and always learn, and don't ever let someone tell you not to. Just know when to stop and to integrate it. Okay. Just know when it's enough, or when you know enough. I mean, so when we're looking out of curiosity rather than fear, that's when we can dig in all we want. But it can be very overwhelming, and it can be like drinking from the fire hose. Okay. So what I do is in my work, I synthesize the information. I have all the documents and everything put into categories and shuffled here and there. And I know what to pull from my toolkit that can help certain people because they're more music oriented, or they need more support in the mental and emotional arena, or they need more physical support, or their diets are super poor. They really need to start at the basics and get some sleep and rest and exercise, right? So I synthesize all of the information that I've learned over the years and that I continually learn every single day, like every minute of the day. I synthesize that and help people to turn on the tap in a, not just a trickle, but whatever speed that it needs to be for you in particular. If you're ready for big changes, we go for it. If you're like, okay, I got to start from the beginning, Carla, and then we'll just work on one thing at a time. So I synthesize it, I bring it all together, and I pull things out and curate and help to make sense of the chaos. I curate experience. So there's no way that we can actually have change occur as if we don't have the experience. We could talk about meditation, for instance, all day long, but it's not going to give you the experience of it until you actually go through it with somebody or on your own, whatever you do. But you have to have that experience, and then that experience has to land. You actually have to feel it. It can't just be going through the motions and, yeah, I'm doing my meditation for the day, blah, 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 I'm closing my eyes. No, that's still not an experience. It's really being open to actually having those things land. And then after that, feeling and integrating the effects. So I do that with people as well. And I facilitate integration to empower people to enjoy deep wellness. Like, we're looking for deep wellness here, people, like literally where we're feeling pretty good most of the time. And that doesn't mean that things don't happen and people don't die and we don't have accidents and we don't have loss and fears and job loss and injury and, about like times where we're really questioning ourselves and our jobs or our existential meaning. We have that. The purpose is to have post-event growth where we are stronger, more resilient. We have shorter bounce back time, right? Like our bounce back is just like, okay, I twisted my knee the other week or last week, and I was 85% better in 2 days. And that could have been an injury that would have been plaguing me for months. It could have been. But I knew what I needed and when. So this is what we do too, is to discover what we need and when, and to be more self-aware and to cultivate strength and in ways that we don't always consider to be strength. I mean, it doesn't have to be necessarily physical strength, could be. It's also mental, spiritual, emotional, those kinds of strengths. And strength isn't always brute force. Sometimes the strength is to let go. That takes a lot of strength to do those things as well. So my goal is for people to enjoy deep wellness. Just deep, and you know what I mean when I say that. You will feel that. Vital health, because this is really what we want to feel is alive. Right? And ecstatic joy in the everyday. And ecstatic doesn't mean that you're always, like everything is just peachy all the time. I've had ecstatic, joyful moments in some of the most painful experiences of my life. And that is where we can say or recognize that our feelings are not either good or bad. They just are. And they're telling us something, and what we can do and help that along, or to help to move those feelings and to transmute them, is to see them as such. This isn't good or bad. This is a teacher. And so I'm going to learn from that. I'm going to have my bounce back, and I'm going to return to my default of feeling pretty good most of the time. All right. So I just wanted to poke in there really quickly about that. So I'll tell you a little bit about I could tell you a bit about myself. well, actually, no, I'll tell you a bit about myself first, and then I'll tell you about my packages and my coaching and how that works. So you can have a look at this. I have two about pages. One of them on my healthyfamilyformula.com website has more of the academic stuff. So you can look at like what degrees I have and what kind of stuff I've studied and that kind of stuff if you're interested in that. Okay. So if you want to know if I know what I'm talking about for your particular situation, you can head over there. This one is from it's on the about page on my carlaathertoninspired.com website. And I talk about my purpose. Okay. So I'm just going to read that quickly and then we'll just move on to my services and what those things are and how I work. So my purpose in both my work and life, which are inextricable, they completely are, is to show people, clients, loved ones, and community that they are not broken or ill without the power to make change in their health, and to empower them with the vision, guidance, and inspiration needed to overcome dis-ease of any kind, physical, mental, and emotional. I aim to lead with love and without judgment, and that's important. And I had to go through my own journey with that. Sometimes when you care very deeply for people, it can be laced with judgment. Like, why don't you take care of yourself? Why don't you do this? I actually have evolved into understanding why people do what they do. And I completely understand those processes, but I'm here to give you a nice, gentle, loving kick in the rear. Let's move on. That's what you're here to do with me, baby. Let's move on. So I aim to lead with passion without fear, without telling people what they should do and showing them what they can do. Okay, so let's stop shooting all over each other and ourselves and really just focus on the inspiration and the possibility. All right, so you can look here to see what my different roles are in my work. They range from, I got trained in functional medicine all the way to transformational nutrition, all the way to, working with chronic illness or what people consider to be chronic conditions. And then I developed my inspired shift method after years and years in that field of study and work. So the title that I call myself would be a health empowerment coach, but I'm also a youth wellness coach, because when I say health empowerment, that doesn't really speak to the work I do with people, the teenage years and into adolescence. So like early to mid 20s. And those are still those years of adolescence when we are individuating and doing all these things, and might have parents a little bit more involved in your life, or might not have as much agency or control over your environments where you need to live. So there are many more, I'm not going to say issues. There are many more just things to pay attention to working with people in that age group. That could be you. You might be listening right now. So I'm the director of the Healthy Family Formula and the HFF Practitioner Training Academy. So again, I teach people to do what I do. And I also teach people how to be health empowerment coaches. And I'm the host and producer of the Children's Health Summit. And I wrote a book called Family Health Revolution. And I facilitate creative writing experiences that are designed to really show your power, your true hero's journeys. And so one of them is Mountains Rise from Earthquakes. That's an adult writing experience. And another one is finding and uncovering your genius. And that is more geared toward the youth and early 20s age group. And I also teach yoga and all that kind of stuff, and breath work and mindfulness meditation and body work. Okay, so a little bit more about me if you want to read that, about little personal stuff. My websites are here, and a few things that I want to point out to you in this video here before it gets too long is you can hop on there and see what modalities that I work in, and all of these things I have studied and or deeply explored in my own life, work with my own family, work with my own friends, clients, all of these things I have experienced in and been very interested in learning more about and incorporating them into my work. So these are the things that we would go through when we work together. And it might not be all of them. I mean, it likely won't be, but it could be any kind of combination depending on what is right for you. So I would like to read this if somebody was listening to the audio, but I actually don't want to do that because otherwise this will be much too long. So I would just encourage you, if you're listening on audio and you can't actually see me scrolling, I'll scroll much slowly right now while I say this. If you can't actually see what I'm scrolling through, go to carlaathertoninspired.com/about. And at the very bottom, you'll see the list of modalities that I work in, or if I can't do it physically with you for on Zoom or in a group call, I have resources or at least make suggestions for you to go find those things in your area. But a lot of these things we can do and during our sessions, whether they be group or one-on-one. Okay. And it's so exciting. I love doing all of that stuff. All right. So here are the packages. Okay. So group programs, this is one way I deliver this work and work with people to move them from, not disharmony to harmony. And so these group programs, and I'm just going to actually take out all of my group programs include 10 live sessions. Usually they're about 10 sessions each, and then you could always take it again or do a different program. But they're usually about 10 live Zoom sessions, and they are an hour to an hour and a half long, depending on the program. Often they will have pre-recorded sessions, but not always. So some of them have pre-recorded sessions. Some of them we just come and do everything during the session. So for instance, the youth mental and emotional wellness programs, those are always just live. I keep, the learning piece to a minimum and the experiential piece to a maximum. So we get to do stuff during the program rather than being inundated like you're, like in a class, which is good sometimes. Don't get me wrong, but something when it has to do with learning about meditation, for instance, and how that can, or brain balancing or whatever, the best is to actually just experience it. So then there'd be structured sessions. Those sessions are structured. We have things like worksheets, and like I was saying, we have experiences during the sessions. Then you get a personalized plan that you can track your own progress throughout your time in the group. And we have discussion groups for each group. And that's just so that we can connect with each other outside of the class. And so I can do audio coaching there. I post things that might be inspirational or informational. I'll do, videos, like those sorts of things throughout the week that we won't have time to do during the session, but is an added support to keep you going and motivated and interested and excited and just evolving out of that chrysalis of whatever it was, that pain, that you came to these programs with. It's just a continued working out of that. And we address health on every level, from the body to the quantum. Like we go for it. We go for everything in those programs. These are some group programs that that I'm working on, that I'm offering right now, or have offered, I'm offering at the time of this recording. And this may change, but this is what I'm extremely passionate about right now. And I can't see that changing anytime in the near future. But if it does change, it will change on both websites. So just keep your finger on the pulse, get on my newsletter lists. Actually, it's just one list on either one of those websites. You won't be sent emails twice. So either website's fine to get on the newsletter list, and just stay on top of what is being offered at the time. So that'll be posted on the websites. It'll also be sent to you via email when I, as things evolve and as things get offered, because there are more that I have been interested in developing, but these are really, I think, the core basic programs that I'm going to stick with for a very long time. I don't have on here the practitioner training programs. Those are also group programs. But just know that those are available on both websites. So Take Back Your Health and Power group program, that's one of them. Take Back Your Health and Power coaches edition. So that's additional coaching for coaches. So there's one day we do the program with everyone, the experiential program, and then I have how to coach this another hour and a half a week for coaches. Healthy Mama, Healthy Baby, Healthy Child program, youth mental and emotional wellness program, the new psychology, which is a relearning of what psychology actually is and how to help people. And it's for professionals and the interested public. And then Mountains Rise from Earthquakes and Uncovering Your Genius Writing Experiences. So those are on the roster right now. Okay, so this is my one-on-one coaching package. So if you're interested in doing one-on-one coaching with me and you're intrigued by my work and how that might help you and or your family, I only take on 3 to 5 clients at one time. And the reason for that is that I do a lot of back and forth coaching in between our scheduled sessions. So all these hours that you see here of having me one-on-one or one-on-one time with me and you and setting that time aside is only, it's part of the package. And the rest of the time in between, we'll do some back and forth. Of course, it's a reasonable length. It's not going to be like every day, hours and hours and hours, but we get lots of back and forth throughout the week. And that might be me sending you an audio or an audio coaching session, or you asking me a question, or me saying, hey, how did it go last night? Or here's a soundtrack, a sound bite from iTunes that I'd like you to try tonight. Here's something that you could read, or anything like that. It could be any number of things. And it just depends on what we're working on at the time. So there's a lot of that. And what I ask is that clients commit to a 3-month package, because we literally can't gain traction if there's just one appointment. And that is for maximum. So I say it down here too, a 3-month minimum for maximum success. Okay. 3-month minimum for maximum success. You can make subsequent and extra appointments at an hourly rate after that package is up. And you can renew your package for as many times as you would like to continue our work together. So if you keep wanting to do like those live, they have the hour and a half, and then 4 60-minute follow-ups, and you want that whole package again, just renew it. If you just want to have like maintenance, like once in a while, whenever you want to make an appointment, we do that at an hourly rate. Okay. So I'm going to go back to close to the top here. So these 3 months, throughout that 3 months, it includes the Shift Method introduction recordings. So those are the recordings I was referring to at the beginning of this introduction to my work. And so those are included. And there, I think, are five or so recordings that just walk you through the Shift Method. But that's just to give you an idea of what we're doing. But really, I take you through that method. Like I physically, like we employ the method as we go, and it's not contrived. And it's like, well, now we're going to work on this part of the method. No, it's literally shifting all the time. Shift, 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 shift. So we start here, we shift over there, start here, shift over there. Okay, so that becomes really clear as we keep going. And it includes the intake process. So that's just a whole lot of stuff that goes on between you and I. You fill in your intake form. I send you an email back with, actually says down here. So once the package is paid for, you are emailed all preliminary information and the intake form and can make your appointments, right? So that's the intake process. It includes your detailed and yet flexible plan. And I call it a plan for lack of a better word. You could call it a blueprint. We could just call it like housing all of our information so we can keep our poop in a group. Okay. But it's flexible. It's totally entirely up to you. These are my suggestions as your coach, as someone who can see patterns and opportunities for healing, opportunities for growth, opportunities for evolution, all that stuff, opportunities to feel better. That is all included in there with all your details and et cetera, et cetera. And then, so we have a 90-minute session that we go through some more details. Maybe there's things that are missed, or maybe you find the intake form a little bit too much to do on your own and you'd like to do that with me. We can take that time in this initial session to do that. There's an additional 90-minute implementation session after you receive my suggested detailed plan. We go through all of that, what's going to happen in the next 3 months or 2.5 months by then, maybe. We go through that in the implementation session, and there's lots of time for both of those sessions for you to ask questions. And we get to know each other really, really well, which is great. And then there are 4 60-minute follow-up sessions that you have included in that package, and we can spread that out throughout the 3 months. And those are the live Zoom meetings. But throughout the 3 months, we have audio coaching, we can text each other and email. Okay, so there's all of that activity still happening throughout that 3 months. And I call these programs, but basically you can enter into this coaching as a family, as an individual, which is the Take Back Your Health and Power concept, or as a coach. So you want to be coaching other people. We are stepping up your game and getting you like leveling up on your evolution. You're ready to just be like, okay, I'm coaching in this regard, but I'm still feeling like I'm not quite where I want to be. And sometimes coaching the coaches, like sometimes us coaches, we have coaches for life. Like we just keep wanting to up our game. And we always are inspired by that kind of relationship with someone who pushes us to, in a gentle way, to be better and better and better at what we do and how we live. And so, okay, I always said, okay, so families, individuals, coaches. All right. So I think that's all. I'm going to go back to this first little slide I had here just to end this conversation here. And thanks so much for hanging in here. I hope this was a really good rundown of my work and how this might work, because it is so very different from what is offered. And the reason why it is because it needs to be. I really feel that this is how we support people. And even if we're not coaches, even if we're teachers or parents, friends, spouses, whatever, this is such a, the element of the connection, the everyday connection and the support piece, and shifting from this into that. Like I said, it's explained in the Inspired Shift method, but that is at the crux of how we connect and reconnect with ourselves. So thanks for listening. And you know where to find me, healthyfamilyformula.com and carlaathertoninspired.com. You'll find my email address there, and have a really great day. May you and your family be well.